is Monday, the 29th of June. I am here in Haneda Airport in Tokyo, in the business class lounge, just about to get my flight back to London, back to the UK. I was initially supposed to be going back to Australia, back to see and be at my great-grandmother's funeral. I have ended up having to not go back for that because of just how logistically challenging it would have been. My family and I am from a really small country town in Victoria. My dad's from the farming community of the Wimmera, and my mum is from the more rural area that is a little bit more built up, I guess the city you could call it of the country, Horsham and Garode. And what I was going to have to do was I was going to have to fly back from Tokyo to Sydney, and then I was going to have to go from Sydney to Melbourne, then drive to Horsham for the funeral, and then go back to Melbourne, fly from Melbourne back to the UK. So there was about an extra 20 hours of travel attached to going back, which wasn't the problem. What the problem was is that I've got athletes competing when I was going to be flying back after the funeral. And I can't be in a position where I'm flying for 24 hours and not able to communicate appropriately or effectively, given obviously Wi-Fi and everything like that and connectivity issues. So yeah, it makes it a little challenging. And then not to mention I'm coming back to Australia in 6 weeks' time for a Season C competitor. So to kind of fly back, go back to the UK and then fly all the way back and then back to the UK, having already done so 2 times this year, would have been really challenging. And I think it probably is something that I've found really hard to deal with. In the last video I didn't really speak about it, but this year for me has probably been the most challenging year of my life. As grateful as I am to have the opportunity to be in the UK, live in London, it has been really challenging. I won't lie. I've dealt with a lot of anxiety. I've dealt with a lot of isolation. It's a really strange position to be in, to live somewhere yet have essentially all of your existence, all of your work, all of your friends, and what you know, your life, be in a completely different space that also operates in a completely different time zone. Like the UK and Australia are really inverse of one another. So I found that really challenging when I went over there, and I felt homesick for quite a while, almost to the point in which I really wasn't leaving my room for a couple of weeks, only to do work. Like the weight of everything was just really impacting me. So much so that I came back to Australia to actually visit my grandmother and grandparents while they were sick. So yeah, it's not all smooth sailing, to say the least, and it's probably something I don't talk about enough. I did a little bit of an Instagram post a couple months ago talking about kind of my anxiety. I had a friend that was going through a really challenging situation, and it just kind of instilled in me this belief that I think so many others feel as if it's all all happy and all successful and nothing is really a challenge, but everybody deals with their own sense of challenge, own sense of grief, sense of responsibility, a variety of different emotions, and I am no different. If anything, I deal with a plethora of them. So yeah, it's not been easy, not been easy at all, but I think the most challenging thing for me is like I've been afforded so many opportunities and so much luxury, and to be able to wake up and do what I love every day, working with all of you guys, and to then not feel happy sometimes. It's almost like, do I have the right? Like, so many people would be absolutely over the moon, unfathomably grateful to be in the position I am. It's not as if I'm not grateful, but it really does put into perspective like the external gratification, financial progression, success, it does not equate to happiness. And all I wanted when I was younger was to be financially free, which I am, and to play sport. And I'm not playing sport, but at least I'm involved in a sport that I have such a depth of care and passion to. And I've been, lucky enough to, for whatever reason, become financially free, and to then not have that really change your happiness. It sounds a little bit cliche for sure, but it really doesn't. What brings happiness is experiences, is family, is friends, is relationships, is love. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned. Is within this move, as much as I am absolutely loving London at the moment, and I'm in a really good routine, and it's summertime, winter might be a different story. It is the relationships in which you have, it is the depth to those, it is the people around you that make you happy and make life what it is. It's not all the bells and whistles. So, but you can't know that until you get to that position, I suppose. So, anywho, enough of my ramble. I am on the way back, and I should touch down in the UK in about 15 to 16 hours, and then try and get my time zones back realigned. Thank you. 15 hours later, this is what tired looks like. I did not sleep a single wink on that flight, purely because I'm trying to get my sleeping schedule back as quickly as possible to London time. So it's about 7:45 p.m. right now, UK time, or at least London time. So if I were to have slept on that 15 hours, I wouldn't be sleeping great tonight, and then that would carry over into the next day. So these are kind of the type of things you tend to get pretty efficient with the more you do it. So I'm fucking tired, and the Wi-Fi on the flight, even in business class, wasn't fantastic, so I wasn't able to do as much work as what I wanted to do. So I've got a few updates to do as soon as I get home. They're actually Mondays. I really pride myself on making sure that I never minimize my quality of service, no matter my travel or my personal obligations. So it would have been easy to just type up a message and send it across, but I would much prefer to verbalize as much as I can, and that is what I shall do. But now I'm going to go through customs, get my baggage, get picked up by my boy Antonio, and then I will be on the way home to South Kensington. That needs updating. Just in the car on the way back. Antonio here has picked me up. He picked me up last time I was going back to Australia, so that's how we met, and we were just talking about his family in Italy and my family back in Australia. And if you guys need somebody to pick you up or drop you off at any of the airports in London, or really anywhere, to be driven anywhere at all, make sure you message me, because I can give you Antonio's number, and he can take good care of you. Home sweet home. It is crazy that it is literally 9:15 here right now, and it is still this light. And this is my apartment.
One thing that I thought may be interesting for the viewers at home is what I like to do a lot of, and what I think every elite coach does, is they review footage where available. I'll usually have my phone in front of me recording as much of my athletes as possible. The reason I like to do that and then purchase the live stream and refer back to is because in the moment, obviously there's a lot of adrenaline, you're very excited to see your athletes up there, and you can be a little bit biased with regards to your viewpoint. So one thing that I like to do is I never make commentary on what I think of the decisions. Publicly, I'll never do that. And privately, I usually refrain from making commentary on those decisions and kind of feedback for my athletes until I've reviewed the footage that's available. So for Liam, having come second this past weekend, we review his footage. So this is the Class C, which is essentially the tall class, Liam being the tallest of the group. So as you can see, Liam is just by chance on the far right side of the stage, or far left from the viewer point of view. What he's doing here is he's angling himself off to the judges. If he was to be standing straight on, which a lot of amateurs would do, he would find himself not being able to fully showcase his frame and stature to the judges. Now, one thing that's really exciting in this footage is that Liam is moved into the middle simply from quarter turns alone. Now, quarter turns was something that for Liam was a really big weak point in regards to, he's not the most clavicularly wide individual. So creating stature and width through these quarter turns has taken some time. And to now see him being moved into the center upon quarter turns without actually even getting into any specific mandatories is, a big confirmation for us that we've done a really good job at creating that stature. So what he used to do was he used to stay very front on with his front relaxed. You can see he's a little bit more in about a kind of a half men's physique type shot, while also a more relaxed front relax. Whereas you can see what he used to do was very much what this guy is doing, and because he doesn't have as much of that width, it would leave more gaps in the physique. So you can see he's moved into the center here against the eventual winner of this class and the eventual winner of the bodybuilding pro card, albeit. So you can just see that he's a little bit more open, Liam's a little bit more closed, but the overall detail that you can see through Liam's physique here, I think actually takes this pose away from the eventual winner. So you've got a little bit more fullness through the pecs, you've got a little bit more fullness through the delts. Obviously midsection detail is up. This competitor here, probably a little bit more depth to the separation on his legs, a little bit harder, but also a little smaller and a little more straight up and down. Whereas Liam's got a little bit more volume to each head of the quadricep. Front double bicep, what we've really tried to do for Liam is to just create lines, create shape, and you can see this flow through. So he's a little shallow in the tricep, which is obviously a weakness of his, but you can see comparatively next to an athlete that's maxing out their cap, he actually looks significantly more classic in this shot. Side chest is a shot that for Liam, since his hamstring and glutes have come up, is pretty much unbeatable for him. There isn't really anybody on this stage who comes close to the full capacity of Liam hitting this shot, even despite Liam not having as much width as someone like this guy here. Now, Liam's weakest shot is his back double bicep, which he's improved significantly. So much so that it actually isn't standing out to be a significantly weak shot. Does he have as much detail through the back as the competitor that won? No. Does he probably have as much separation through the hamstring? No. Does he have better glute development? Absolutely. And I think relative to this individual here, you can see more depth to the hamstring as well in regards to the actual size of it. You can see more separation through quad hamstring. It's really just here, the pop through the mid-back and the detail through. But in terms of width, in terms of depth to the mid-back, I think that Liam is actually probably second in this pose. I mean, you could argue that this guy here would be ahead, But I think that this individual here probably has the best back on the stage, and I think Liam is very much a close second in this shot, which for us here is really positive. We could and we will be in this off season trying to maximise the width that we can take through Liam's posterior and even just more of that mid back density. But it's definitely cool looking at this shot and seeing that it isn't weak for Liam. But I think if we peak Liam very much the way he has been peaked here, and he has that width through the posterior, he's pretty much unbeatable on his best day. Again, a really strong shot for Liam just with regards to the detail through the midsection, the overall flow of the physique, especially with the accumulative mass through the quads. Favourite classic, screaming at him to get his elbow up here, and he does so very nicely. So just the flow of that shot is great. He was about to hit a little bit of another shot and then just moved out, and then they sent them back. So they must have been obviously very close for them to send them both back, but they gave the edge to the eventual winner of the class. Again, whether or not it's agreeable or not, it's the result. And again, great confirmation for Liam that we are on that right trajectory, because this was a quality lineup in any place in the world.